Hi, welcome back to our coverage from AWS reInvent 2018 here in Las Vegas. The reason for the broad smiles on our faces is the fact that we're nearing the end of our program. So the on-screen crew are pretty tired from meeting a lot of expert guests and spending a lot of time on the stream. We're going to spend the last 15 minutes or so just recapping some of the launches from today, Thursday, here at AWS reInvent. So I'll throw it down to the end of our team to Gabe from our team in Asia Pacific from Singapore. Gabe, what's been your highlight of the launches from this morning?
Well, my highlight is probably the updates to Lambda, both the support for Ruby as a first-class language, and then also more broadly, the bring your own language support, as well as Lambda layers. All those announcements made me really excited because I like doing serverless stuff.
Cool, what about you, Rick?
Well, as a Python man, I can't get excited about the Ruby there. I'm sorry, Gabe, I'm not with you. But WebSocket support for API Gateway, that's going to be great. I've got a little demo I'd like to rewrite from containers into serverless.
You should rewrite it into Ruby also.
No, not Ruby, but I'll go to serverless at least.
Okay.
I'd probably have to go for the AWS toolkits for some of the popular integrated development environments. I think that just makes it way, way easier to use these services, deploy quickly. Being able to do some stateful debugging for Lambda functions inside of these environments natively too, I think is really, really cool. Takes a lot of the complexity out of instrumenting things so that you can debug through those Lambdas.
Yeah, it's really fun to have been involved in helping to build some of those toolkits as well. We've got one of our team members that you've seen on the stream, AM, that worked on the early prototypes of the Visual Studio Code plugin, so it's cool to see that idea get turned into something that customers can use. For me, the most interesting announcements have been things that have been really well aligned with some of the customers that I've been chatting to over the course of the last few months. So I went to the Nordics a few weeks ago to meet with a few customers in the gaming segment, which is a super hot area for AWS customers in the Nordics, with Supercell and other clients up there. And a couple of customers that I was talking to there were really interested in ways to run Kafka on AWS for ingesting analytics data from some of these really large, really popular mobile games that they operate. So it's cool to see us announce a managed service today for Kafka that should make that a lot simpler for those customers. I think that's a really cool launch. In keeping with this idea of making it easier for customers to run open source software on the platform, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of customers who, even though Kinesis is already a pretty compelling stream processing service, there are customers who are already pretty entrenched or just used to working with Kafka, and it's nice that now they have that option.
A lot of customers are already running Kafka on AWS on self-managed infrastructure, so why not simplify that and make it easier to manage things like failure and deployment?
It's not fun managing your own cluster.
There's third-party tools as well there that already work with Kafka and would need re-engineered for Kinesis, and they can just take advantage without having to build anything. Great.
What about step function support for containers? I know you're a big advocate for containerized applications, Rick. So what do you think about this idea of spinning up containers in response to step functions workflow steps?
I think it's going to be really interesting, actually. I can think of a few use cases where you could push that in. So if you imagine step function kicking off an environment for a user that then gets delivered to them from a container, because it needs to live longer than that 15 minutes. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I've not really thought of that myself until Monday this week when one of the customers here at the show suggested it to me, and I had no idea that it would be launching later this week, so I was really pleased to see that circle getting closed so quickly. Hopefully that customer's somewhere cheering in the keynote this morning when it was announced. I thought that was excellent.
Mission accomplished. You did that fast, Ian. You act fast.
Oh, yeah. It's all down to that conversation, of course.
And then there's the AWS well-architected tool, which I think is also really cool. Helps you get some of these best practices for creating awesome, scalable, reliable, secure, cost-effective applications, and kind of gives you guardrails to help accomplish those things instead of having to talk to a solutions architect. And our solutions architects are awesome, and they love speaking with our customers, but they're also very, very busy, and everyone wants to get a well-architected review of what they've built. Now people can self-serve, get that same sort of advice directly from AWS console.
Let's take the conversation in a little bit of a different direction now. So, putting aside service launches, there's a lot of other stuff that goes on here at reInvent. There are all kind of side events, all kinds of networking opportunities, all kinds of things that AWS staff and customers can participate in. So what's been your favorite kind of non-service related part of the event this week, Gabe? What's been the most fun thing you've done?
I really enjoyed getting a chance to connect with the user group leaders. Last night we had a special event to basically celebrate all the work that our user group leaders from around the world do, putting together a lot of great content for customers around the world, and it's nice to say thank you to them and get to hang out with all the user group leaders that I don't get a chance to see because I'm operating mostly in APAC out of Singapore region. So it's nice to meet people from other parts of the world who are as excited about AWS as I am.
And I second that as well. I mean, it was a great event.
It was.
40, 50 user group
Yeah.
leaders from around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really cool to hang out with everyone, meet everybody, and just say hi and thank you.
Yeah,
You might
exactly.
even be able to see behind us, there's a developer lounge area of the expo here at reInvent, and there's an area here directly behind our little studio which is staffed by user group leaders, and we're trying to explain to customers here at reInvent what some of the benefits are of participating in AWS user groups, and it's an incredible community for customers to learn from peers out there. And if you're interested in finding an AWS user group, maybe in a city near you, just go to aws.amazon.com/user groups, and we've got a global directory of all of the different user groups around the world right there on the website that you can take a look
I've
at.
just posted that link into the chat as well, so you can click through and go to that now.
Yeah, it's really a great way to learn about AWS from peers and other customers that are already using the platform.
Yeah.
What about you, Brandon? What have you enjoyed outside of the technical content within the show program?
Yeah, so for me, this is my very first reInvent, so the entire thing has been pretty fantastic. It's awesome to see so many passionate community members, developers, and for me, honestly, seeing the joy on the face of the service teams that have been working so hard for months, creating all of these awesome things that we just quickly breezed through. You know, you think about the hundreds of thousands of hours that the awesome people on our team have put into creating those, validating them, speaking with customers. All of these things come from customer conversations. There's just a ton of work that's gone into this whole thing, and just makes me really proud to be a part of this team.
And it's still day one, remember that, right?
And
So-
I think you made a
always
little
been one.
mistake there. You forgot to mention one of the highlights is seeing your fellow colleagues from the Evangelist team around the world.
Absolutely, and we have an evangelist team dinner coming up shortly after this that I'm really excited about. I think a cold fermented malt beverage is definitely in my future.
Talking about team dinners, my own personal highlight for the week, on Monday night this week, we hosted a reception and dinner for a group of AWS advocates called the AWS Community Heroes. And if you've been watching the stream, you might have seen a few of these individuals being interviewed. So Marcia from Helsinki, who is an AWS community hero focusing on serverless applications and architecture, she was interviewed earlier today by Adrian Hornsby, another one of the evangelists. And we've had several other community heroes that have been interviewed on the stream over the course of the week. These are individuals in the AWS community that have been recognized for their contribution, advocacy, and the kind of impact that they have on helping other customers adopt the platform and get the most out of AWS. And I was able to spend a couple of hours in the company of these actually really awesome individuals on Monday night this week, which is actually my personal favorite thing about coming to reInvent. I've been involved and met a lot of these community heroes over the years that I've worked here, but only really get one opportunity a year to connect with them in person. That's a really fun time, and something that I personally really enjoy as well.
We had a bit of an ad hoc coffee morning as well down in the Palazzo, and just randomly put out on our Slack channel, come and join us for a coffee. We had loads of community members, community heroes. Eric came along. Quinny Pig was there, so
Quinny Pig. Corey Quinn from
Corey
Last Week
Quinn.
in AWS, yeah.
Yeah, a newsletter that you should definitely subscribe to, lastweekinaws.com. It's community-driven, roundup of all of the latest AWS news that you can receive in your inbox auto-magically every week. Save you a little bit of time.
With a good amount of
Two spoonfuls of
sarcasm.
snark.
Yeah, it's a quality read. One of the few news readers that I read every time it lands in my inbox.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool.
while we're talking about community, one more thing I think is worth mentioning is, Twitch, everybody watching here on Twitch, you're part of the community too, and we wouldn't be able to do this without all of you. So thank you for tuning in, and it's as always, it's been really fun interacting with lots of you through the chat throughout the week, representing things here at reInvent, and I hope that we continue to see you on the stream for all the future content we put together.
Yeah, and continuing along with the theme of customer obsession, that's the number one principle at AWS. If there's things that you as Twitch viewers think that we could be doing better, if you have feedback, ideas for extensions that we might want to use on the channel, anything like that, please let us know. We're happy to take that feedback and make sure that we raise the bar next year.
Absolutely right, yeah. We'll continue to try and improve the quality of this program and bring you AWS reInvent if you're not able to make it here to the show in Las Vegas.
I think it's also important to note that if you haven't been able to attend in person, all of the sessions, all of the awesome content that you've seen is going to be available on our YouTube channel in a matter of days. Some of it I think is already available. The editors
absolutely.
are working really, really quickly. So you can find our Amazon Web Services channel on YouTube and see everything that you missed, and then you won't be missing out, even if you couldn't be here in Las Vegas with us.
Catch up on those 2,000 plus breakouts with deep dives on all kinds of different services, plus for the keynotes, of course, from Werner Vogels, CTO at Amazon, Andy Jassy, our CEO as well. In fact, Andy's keynote from yesterday morning is already up there on youtube.com/Amazon Web Services if you're interested in taking a look at it and catching up on the machine learning announcements and the rest of the announcements from yesterday's keynote. You can catch that already on YouTube.
Yep. Cool.
Okay, so for tomorrow, we will be back on stream. We'll be back on stream with a vodcast, so we'll be bringing you edited highlights from AWS reInvent all day Pacific time tomorrow, together with chat moderation, so you can jump on, recap some of the sessions that you might have missed, ask questions of our expert host, and of course interact with the rest of the community on twitch.tv/AWS. I'd like to thank all of the hosts that have participated in the program this week. I'd like to thank our off-screen helpers to my right, to your
Thank
left,
you,
our moderators and
everyone.
our broadcast team. I'd like to thank all of the special guests that have visited us here on twitch.tv/AWS. I'd like to thank all of the awesome customers that have attended the show, including those that we've featured on the course of the broadcast program as well.
Yep.
Cameras and sound as well.
Oh, yeah,
Big
the
thank
people
you,
behind the camera.
broadcast, everybody in the green room.
We
Thanks
brought in
very
chairs
much.
for them on day 2, so they didn't have to stand for
Our
8 hours.
crew is as awesome as everyone else. Thank you.
Yeah, and the folks who were making sure that we were stocked up on snacks back in the green room, really appreciate that.
Okay, we'll see you all soon, guys.
Group hug.
Thanks so much for joining us on
Thanks for tuning in.
twitch.tv/AWS. Thank you.